Just when things were looking up for the Cowboys, they get hit with some tough news on one of their key playmakers, Brandin Cooks. But don't worry, it's not all bad. While Cooks faces an uncertain road ahead, there's some good news about other injured Cowboys stars, plus a surprising update on Dalvin Cook that could shake things up in Dallas. You don't want to miss this one, so stay tuned. Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a die-hard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. We're talking about some unfortunate news regarding Brandin Cooks, but there's also some silver lining when it comes to other injuries. Plus, we're diving into the latest news on Dalvin Cook that could impact more than just the Cowboys. You're not going to want to miss any of this? But before we get into all of that, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on everything Cowboys and NFL related. If you're part of Cowboys Nation, go ahead and smash that like button too. Alright, let's get into it. So, let's start with what everyone's been buzzing about lately, Brandin Cooks. The Cowboys brought Cooks in this offseason to give Dak Prescott another dynamic weapon on offense, especially someone who can stretch the field with his speed. Everything was looking great in the early weeks. He was showing chemistry with Dak, and it felt like Cooks was going to be that missing piece that would help unlock a more dangerous Cowboys passing game. But now, there's been some bad news on the injury front. Brandin Cooks has been dealing with a nagging injury that's raised some real concerns. Initially, the Cowboys coaching staff didn't seem too worried. It was brushed off as something minor, maybe something he could play through. But as time has gone on, it's become more obvious that this is something that could sideline him for longer than we first thought. Now, the Cowboys haven't been super open about the exact details of the injury, typical, right? But from what we're hearing, it's something that could potentially linger throughout the season if not managed properly. And that's exactly the concern. The Cowboys' medical staff is being cautious because they don't want to rush Cooks back and have this turn into one of those injuries that sticks around all year. This is a huge blow for the Cowboys because Cooks was supposed to be the deep threat that opens things up for the rest of the offense. With him out or limited, it puts even more pressure on CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup to carry the load. And while both of those guys are talented, they're not the type of players who scare defenses with their speed the way Cooks does. Not to mention, the Cowboys are a team that's heavily invested in making a deep playoff run this year. Losing Cooks for any extended period of time could hurt those chances. The good news here? The injury isn't believed to be season-ending. At least, not at this point. The Cowboys are optimistic that with proper rest and rehab, Cooks can return and still be a big factor later in the season. But, for now, fans are going to have to hold their breath and hope the injury doesn't take a turn for the worse. Alright, now let's shift gears to some positive news on the injury front. While Cook's situation is less than ideal, the Cowboys did get some good news when it comes to a few other key players who were banged up. First off, Tyron Smith. We all know how important Tyron Smith is to the Cowboys' offensive line. When he's healthy, he's still one of the best tackles in the league. The problem is, health has been a major issue for him over the last few seasons. So when Smith got banged up earlier in the season, there was a collective sigh of "here we go again" from Cowboys fans. But Hold Up Smith is reportedly progressing well in his recovery, and it looks like he could be back on the field sooner rather than later. That's massive for this offensive line, especially given the fact that when Smith is out, it often has a domino effect on the rest of the line. Keeping Dak Prescott protected is going to be even more important without Brandin Cooks to stretch the field, so getting Smith back healthy is a huge win. On top of that, linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, who's been dealing with his own injury issues, is also said to be making good progress. Van Der Esch is a key piece of this defense, particularly when it comes to stopping the run. His presence in the middle of the field is crucial for shutting down opposing offenses. The Cowboys' defense has been strong this year, but getting Van Der Esch back to full health could take it to the next level. And with the NFC being as competitive as it is, they're going to need all the help they can get on both sides of the ball. So, while the news on Brandin Cooks isn't what we wanted to hear, there are definitely some positives when it comes to the rest of the roster. It looks like the Cowboys could be getting healthier at just the right time as the season starts to heat up. Now, let's talk about Dalvin Cook. You're probably wondering, wait, why are we talking about Dalvin Cook? He's not even on the Cowboys. And that's true. Cook, of course, is playing for the New York Jets after signing with them this offseason. But his situation is one that could have ripple effects across the league, including for the Cowboys. Here's the deal, Dalvin Cook hasn't exactly been lighting it up with the Jets. In fact, it's been quite the opposite. He struggled to find his footing in New York, and there's already talk that the Jets might be looking to move on from him. Crazy, right? Cook was one of the biggest free agents on the market this past offseason, and now just a few games into the year, it seems like the Jets might be having buyer's remorse. So, what does this have to do with the Cowboys? Well, if the Jets do decide to cut ties with Dalvin Cook, it could open up a lot of possibilities for teams around the league, including Dallas. Now, I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to rush out and sign Dalvin Cook if he becomes available, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. With Tony Pollard carrying the bulk of the load in Dallas, adding a proven veteran like Cook could be a move that gives them more depth and versatility in the backfield. Plus, we all know how unpredictable the NFL can be. Injuries happen. Teams make moves they weren't planning on making. So if Dalvin Cook hits the market, you better believe the Cowboys will at least take a look. And let's not forget, the Cowboys front office has never been shy about making a splash if they think it'll help the team win now. Cook might not be the player he was a few years ago, but in the right situation, he could still be a valuable asset. Also, keep in mind that with Ezekiel Elliott now gone, the Cowboys don't have that power back option they've relied on in the past. Cook could fill that void in certain situations, especially in short yardage scenarios, or when they need to grind out the clock late in game. But again, this is all speculation at this point. The Jets haven't made any official moves, but if things keep trending in the direction they are, don't be surprised if Dalvin Cook becomes a free agent sooner rather than later. And if that happens, the Cowboys will definitely be one of the teams to watch. So there you have it, Cowboys Nation, some bad news, some good news, and a whole lot to think about when it comes to the future. Brandin Cook's injury is definitely a setback, but with Tyrone Smith and Leighton Vander Esch on the mend, the Cowboys should still be in a good position moving forward. And as for Dalvin Cook, well, only time will tell, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Cowboys' injury situation and whether or not you think Dalvin Cook would be a good fit in Dallas. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!